Hi, everybody. Today we're going to do the Joe Biden versus Donald Trump general election prediction for April. I last did this a couple of months ago, and in that prediction, several states did move toward Donald Trump. Over the last couple of months, a lot of the polling has still shown Trump with an advantage, but there's still more than a half a year to go. I'm not really going to make many changes to this map, but we can still go through the states to see where things are at. Now, some of you might be wondering, where's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or the other third-party candidates? We're still watching him gather signatures and attain ballot access. I might do a prediction with him next month, but for now, this is just going to be the main event, the head-to-head matchup. Now, while I go over the background, let's start by filling out the safe states. These are expected to be over a 10-point margin. So I think almost everybody is familiar with the background about these two candidates. A lot of Americans don't really want either of these two. They're both going to have a few strengths and liabilities, and in addition to the third parties, there are a significant number of unknowns for this election. There's all kinds of questions about Trump and his trials, Biden and his age, the economy, immigration, abortion. I have seen all kinds of predictions ranging from Biden winning in a landslide because Democrats have overperformed in most of the special elections, and it's assumed that there's a lot more anti-Trump vote out there than pro-Trump. And I've seen people say Trump is going to easily win all the key swing states plus go into uncharted territory. That's going to be because most voters do not feel the country is moving in the right direction. Inflation is crushing everybody, and a lot of voters feel nostalgic for the Trump economy pre-COVID. I don't think either of those scenarios are really going to happen. I think somebody's going to win it by a narrow margin. So the safe states for Biden, there's nothing shocking here. He's getting Hawaii, the West Coast, Illinois, and much of the Northeast. I've seen some people say New York could be competitive or even flip. I'm not seeing that at all. I think the map is going to look similar to how it looked back in 2020. There is a chance Colorado gets under 10, but I think it's more likely that it stays into double digits. Now, the safe states for Trump, there's also nothing really shocking here. He is going to get Alaska. There's a chance if it was a blue wave, it gets down under 10. But other than that, these are pretty much the states we would expect. Now, if we go down to the likely states, these are between a 5 and a 10-point margin. These have an outside chance of being competitive. For Biden, he's got 4 states. He's got New Mexico, Minnesota, Virginia, and New Hampshire. Of those 4 states, I would guess that Minnesota is going to be the most competitive. That is probably at about a 5 to 5.5-point margin for me right now. So it does have potential to go down to leans in the future. The other states, I don't think there's much debate about. Virginia and New Mexico went safe for Biden last time. I think he would do at least 1 point worse this time. So that is going to take those down to likely. New Hampshire was very close in 16. If there is a lot of third-party support there, also in Minnesota, that's another thing that could get these states more competitive. One other likely rating for Biden is going to be Maine at large. I have seen the polls that show Trump in the lead here. For me, I think those are a lot of Democrats that are just not enthusiastic for Biden. Eventually, most of them are going to come back to him. That's why the first district goes safe. And at large, I think it's going to be mid-single digits for right now. Now, if we look at the likely states for Trump, he also has 4 of them. He's going to get Texas, Iowa, Ohio, and his home state of Florida. Is there a chance some of these states can hit 10 points? Yes, there is. Ohio and Iowa are probably the top contenders, but Texas, if it's a red wave, I would say it could also hit 10 points. Florida was very red back in the midterms, but on a presidential level, I want to see some more data. I don't really think that's going to hit 10 points just yet. And we can't forget about Maine's 2nd congressional district. This is actually borderline likely safe. For now, it's going to stay at likely. Now let's go down to the lean states. These are under a 5-point margin. There's only one of them, and it's going to be North Carolina, and it's going to go leans for Trump. He won it narrowly last time in 2020. It's not completely impossible the state could flip, but I think it's most likely Trump is at least able to win the state. And one other electoral vote we can give to Biden is going to be Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. Now, the remaining 6 battleground states are all tilt margins, and these are 1 point or less. So it goes without saying that I think these states could go either way. Yes, I've seen the polling that shows Trump leading in almost all of them. If the election were right now, Trump might win all of them, but there's a lot of time left. Let's start in Nevada. I hear a lot of people say it's trending to the right, and it's been a little while since Republicans have been able to win it for president. The polling here might underestimate Democrats, so for the time being, I'm still going to keep this as a tilt for Biden. Next door in Arizona, the border is a big issue here. That does favor Trump. I've seen him up in the polls by over 5 points. His brand is a little bit toxic in Maricopa County. I think that's going to make the state competitive, but overall, right now, I do have the state going to Trump by a tilt margin. Let's take a look at the Rust Belt. We've got Wisconsin. This, I think, is the pinnacle swing state. They reelected a Democratic governor and a Republican senator. Both sides, I think, could point to some metrics here that favor them. It was extremely close last time. I think it's going to be the same this time. Ultimately, I think Trump could expand just a little bit more than Biden, so it's kind of a coin flip, but I do have it going to Trump. Next door in Michigan. Could the uncommitted vote come back to hurt Biden here? Yeah, it's a possibility. Plus, I've seen the polls that show Trump in the lead here, even more so than Wisconsin. I do want to know how much the union support is going to drift toward Trump, but some of the suburbs and higher educated places like Ann Arbor, they're going to come out big for Biden. And of course, it's subject to change, but for right now, I am going to give it to Biden. And in Pennsylvania, if Trump can make any kind of a gain in Philadelphia and hold his margins in the rural counties, he could flip it. Again, there's a lot of reasons for both sides to think they can be competitive here. The midterm election here was highly disappointing for the Republicans, so it's tough, but I do have it going to Biden. The last state is Georgia. Here's another state where the suburban counties are not big fans of Trump, but I have seen enough current polling here that does show this firmly in Trump's column. I don't think he's going to win it by 5 or 6 points. I think the polls will narrow up as we get closer to the election, but in the end, there might be just enough vote here to keep it red, so I did give it to Trump by that tilt margin. So the final total is Donald Trump 272, Joe Biden 266. It's extremely close. Trump squeaks it out, and I pretty much said everything I needed to say. A lot of these margins are borderline. Maybe you bump Arizona up to leans for Trump. Maybe you take Minnesota down to leans for Biden. There's all kinds of different maps and different things you're going to emphasize to come up with your own ratings. Given we're 7 months out, I didn't want to make too many changes. If the national environment favors Trump in 3 or 4 months, and if he maintains his lead in the polls, then this map is going to look a lot better for him. But if Trump's funding starts to dry up and he has more baggage from his legal issues, and if the economic sentiment starts to turn around for Biden, then some of these states are going to move back in his direction. Given Biden is in office, I think he has more tools at his disposal to try to rally his base in case it looks like he's trailing late into the summer. But then again, it does look like voters are more nostalgic for the Trump years, at least pre-COVID. So your map is probably going to look a little bit different, but let me know in the comments. Do you mostly agree with this map, or would you change 5 or 6 of these states? And are you waiting to see how Kennedy is going to factor into this general election? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.